it's really important to supplement the decodable books with audiobooks. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, audiobooks is cheating. Well, it's not cheating because they can't read the book. And if they can't get access to it any other way than listening to it, is going to give them the information that they need to learn, that their peers are learning. It's going to give them the vocabulary exposure that they're not going to get from reading. Because yes, some of these controlled texts do have some of the higher vocabulary, but if they don't have the skill to decode these words, which often are morphographically complex words, right? So they have a lot of prefixes and suffixes, and a lot of the scholastic words or the academic language is based in Latin and Greek morphology, right? So if they don't have the skills to decode those words and they're not reading them, they're not going to have that same exposure. And just in the classroom isn't enough, because our conversation or typically use these words as frequently. So that's why, having the audio back that they can listen to and get the exposure to. And it's also, don't just get the audiobooks for the classroom content books. Get the audiobooks for the popular fiction that their friends are reading, so they can relate to, the Harry Potter books that everybody's reading, but it's way above their level. And there's no way that they can access it, but they can listen to it.
Yes, or somebody could read it to them and have a conversation. And that's something I would like to mention. Audiobooks are great as a supplement, as you're saying, to keep kids in grade level or above material, because otherwise they are not, they're not getting what they need for their age. They're just not. However, the problem with audiobooks is that it's one way. Right. So they're only getting this language receptively without a conversation going on. So there's no one who's stopping it and then maybe talking about it, checking in to see if they're understanding it. So, my preference is, if possible, if there is an adult at home who can read, the issue is sometimes parents have trouble reading too. So we have to take that into account. But I do like the idea of an adult doing a read aloud, so that there is this conversation, this back and forth. We talked about that in an earlier session. So where there's this back and forth, not just one way listening. So that makes the kids actively involved in the story. So I do think you lose something with audio in that regard. But certainly it's better than not having any of the books to talk about, right? So if there's nobody there to read aloud with them, notice I use the word with instead of to, but with them, then of course, that is something that should be available to them.
Yeah, definitely. And you have mentioned that it's important to make sure that the level of the book meets like when you're using decodable books, that the sounds are taught. And so that's making sure that the book goes along with a phonics program that you're using. And there are some great free resources for decodable text, and they will typically tell you the series of letters that are expected to be known for the student to read this book. And it's all about the cumulative knowledge that the child has, right?